How does your troubleshooting process, I guess, change throughout the course of the competition? I mean, you start with practice rounds, which are very laid back, and then you have your qualification matches, and ultimately you have elimination rounds. And I'm going to take a wild guess that there's a very different troubleshooting process throughout those three. How does your team handle that? We'll start with Jerry this time.
Usually your practice matches and everything before that, you're a little more methodical on your troubleshooting. You're trying to, I mean, you're really trying to teach at the same time of get through what's going on, so that when you do get to the more important matches, your team members can actually take over and kind of instinctively start troubleshooting stuff, seeing the stuff that's typically normal and what to see, what they're used to. You also try to, in the earlier matches, try to pinpoint a lot of troubleshooting that may not even need to happen right now because you don't have a problem yet. But for instance, like your joystick's not working during a match. The F1 key is the magical re-enumerate button for USB joysticks, and if they don't even know about it at all, because you've never had the problem, that may cause a problem, and you're in this panic mode, and I have no control, but everything's connected, that kind of thing. So you try to go through everything during practice matches, even stuff that you're not actually having problems with. And then when you get to later matches, it's really just focusing on what really is the problem.
Steve?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that our practice matches are any more relaxed than our other matches. We're usually fairly intense the whole time. But I would agree that you are more methodical towards the start. And I'd also say that through the course of a competition, you start to rule a lot of things out in that it's been working, you know, you're pretty happy and comfortable with where the robot's at. So when something does go wrong, at that point you kind of already know that most things have at some point been checked enough times to probably rule them out. And it actually makes finding a problem a bit easier because it's more obvious where it is to start with.
Until you have those magical digital sidecar issues.
Yep, those two.
Alright, so I guess there's a point where, you know, something is worth fixing, something small has gone wrong and you troubleshoot it and, you know, you fix that issue. But, you know, sometimes it's just not worth fixing and just needs to be replaced. How do you know, when that is? How do you know to go, okay, look, this is just useless, it's not going to be fixed in time, we, you know, just replace the entire thing? Jerry, how do you go about that?
Well, I guess that's kind of a last-minute decision depending on what's going on, because if it's something that is going to take 3 hours to replace, obviously you're not going to replace it. You got to do everything you can just to get the next match, especially if you're in finals. So you're kind of stuck trying to do whatever you can to get going and get moving. So it's really a call of how much time do you have and how long is it going to take to fix.
Yeah, it's very much a judgment call at the time. You know, can you put a fix together that's going to work for the next match if you have to go out right now? What are you going to lose if you do try and fix it now but don't get it done in time, right? If it's just replace a sidecar, should be relatively quick unless you've buried it. But if you don't get the replacement done, you're not going to make the next match. Right, so it'll come down to the trade-offs as what am I going to lose if we don't repair this right now? Right, you can go out and tie something up with zip ties and have it keep out of the way, or you can try and fix it.
Yeah, and sometimes, I mean, if it is like your C-Rio that's down, obviously you have to replace that. It's not going to help if you don't replace that. With the digital sidecar and trying to like replace that, if it's usually it is pretty easy if it's buried in the robot. I kind of had a chuckle on that one because I've seen way too many of them buried way in the robot that you can't find. The other thing that I was going to say is that if you have enough people paying attention to matches, the next match, if you're already way ahead and you really don't need that next match, a lot of teams I've seen decide to replace whatever they need because it's more important for the later matches, not for this next match. So they can swing it either way depending on your whole persona of everything, of your position in the whole regional.